Welcome back to Leeds Lately. Make sure you do hit that big sub button down below. That would massively help me out. So we're trying to hit 10k. We might have hit it already by this point. I'm recording this a week in advance. But today we're going to be talking about Everton's tactics and how Leeds might play against them. Before that though, make sure you do check out the links in the description. Of course, the Leeds third kit can now be purchased, as well as the away kit and the home kit. Anything that you want from the official Leeds United store. Make sure you use my link up there in the cards or down in the description below, and that will give me a small affiliate kickback at no extra cost to you, and it's a great way to support the channel. We've also got the Etsy prints and things like that in the description as well, so make sure you go and check that out for me. So today's video then, we're going to be talking about Everton versus Leeds, the opening game of the season at Elland Road on Monday Night Football, and we're going to be having a chat about it. We're going to be live for it as well, so make sure you come over to the channel when we are live for that game. But here's the tactics board. Now, when it comes to Everton, they play in a 4-2-3-1, and under Sean Dyche, they played in a 4-2-3-1, but the defence was very, very rigid and would always be having to kind of stay back in these areas, and it caused them a few problems in the attack. When they would win the ball back in the final third, they would have, for example, 4 players up here, and they would win the ball back in the final third. Let's get a little football on the pitch. So let's say that they won the ball back in the final third here, and it's one of their attacking players here. They actually don't have any overloads, and this is why they struggled to create chances and goals before Moyes came in. So they didn't really have any overloads in those situations. So let's say that Leeds gave the ball away in this game. They would only have 4-on-4, and Leeds have the chance to get their midfielders back as well, because the defence of Everton would be so kind of rigidly set back here. Now, Everton have become so much more effective under David Moyes, and the one tweak he's made is bringing in the right back O'Brien, who is very comfortable playing in a back three, which allows them to have a base of a back three here, but it allows them to push Mykolenko up the pitch. So last season with Harrison even, he would have then someone to overlap him into the space here. And like Leeds do, it creates that overload of having 5 versus 4 against the back 4 when they press in those forward areas. The key thing being here, Iliman Ndiaye. He is their danger man, and he is their key man to watch. That's who we're identifying. I think in each of these tactical previews, we're going to identify one danger man and how Leeds might be able to combat him and stop him. So in this game, we've got a little bit of a worrying situation, because the fact that Vitaly Mykolenko can come up and come out wide gives us a problem. Because what it does is it makes us have an overload here with the fullback. So if this is Isaac Schmidt, we've already seen that he's struggled in the preseason games. He really has struggled. So I think we've got to sign a right back before the opening game, or Sam Byram stays there and he's a little bit more defensive maybe. But I still worry either way. What's going to have to happen is Leeds is going to have to pull back a winger to try and help out in this situation. But nevertheless, what this does is it frees up Iliman Ndiaye to be a danger man. Now, under Sean Dyche, Iliman Ndiaye was basically on the wing and was forced to kind of be this out-and-out wide winger, and he wasn't as effective. What David Moyes has done is completely unlock him and allowed him to come into this space here. So Leeds are going to struggle here in these areas, in the half space, because that is where Iliman Ndiaye is going to be able to cut inside with balls out from either the holding midfielders or from Vitaly Mykolenko. And it's going to mean that he actually has the space in there to create chances and to create danger, and that is where he is most dangerous. So just this small tweak by David Moyes has allowed Everton to play in a very comfortable back three, with the ability to kind of tuck these 2 into the midfield and then have 5 in the attack and create a 3-2-5 formation, which is a very popular formation in the Premier League when you're attacking towards the opposition goal. But like I said, the danger man being Iliman Ndiaye, and him being able to get into this half space is going to cause problems for Leeds. You've also got Beto in here, who had been decent for them under David Moyes, finishing some of his chances really, really well. Hence why Leeds were interested in the striker. But these problems here are going to have to be solved in a couple of ways. Number one, so let's reset this a little bit and say that they're on the attack a little bit here, and they've got a number 10, and they've got wingers, and then they've got a full back here. So let's say that they're attacking. Sometimes in these situations, Leeds might want to drop a midfielder into the defence, and we've seen them do that multiple times. So let's say that Anton Stack drops into the back four here. It could be Anton Stack or it could be Ethan Ampadu. What that does is it allows us to have a bit of a 5 at the back in these situations. So let's say even if Mykolenko does try to create that overload by coming down here, so he plays it into the midfield, maybe that drags a couple of Leeds players, and then you've got that ability from Everton to play it out to the wing for Ndiaye, and then Mykolenko will attempt to make that overlap. What you've got here is the opportunity to use an extra centre-back like Anton Stack or Ethan Ampadu, drop them in there to combat the extra numbers that Everton will have in the attack. So that allows Joe Rodon to go over and try and be a combatant against the ball as Ndiaye tries to run towards the box. Don't forget also, you'll have your winger holding back as well. So whilst you may say, okay, well, you need to kind of impose your game plan on them, which I'm sure we will try to do, you also have to look at the fact that they are going to try to overload that left-hand side, and specifically that left-hand side, because they do have, I think he's called Larson, out on the opposite side, who is going to be able to cause problems of his own. But the overloads will come more from Ndiaye here and Mykolenko, and what will happen is Larson is able to then tuck inside and almost at times become an extra striker. So there isn't a massive amount of threat to come down this right-hand side from Everton. Leeds is left. But it does mean that when they tuck inside, they've essentially got 2 strikers occupying there as well. So again, that causes more problems for Leeds, and you might have to drop an even further player in, and it starts to look like you've got a bit of a back 5 with some players dropping in to help as well. Now, when Everton are actually defending up at the other end, let's say when Leeds are on the attack, Everton have the ability to, again, make a bit of a back 5 like Leeds might do in this situation. The way that would happen is that O'Brien here, who is the one who's comfortable tucking into centre-back, will make that a back 3. Then you've got Mykolenko here, and Larson will actually, I'm sure he's called Larson, if he's not, correct me if I'm wrong, he will tuck in and almost make a bit of a back 5, so that when Leeds are on the attack, they'll have a little bit of a situation like this, and they'll do a bit of a 5-4-1, so that it's hard for Leeds to break them down. So when Leeds are attacking, though, you'll have perhaps Anton Stack and Ethan Ampadu just here. You'll have your wingers up in these wide areas here, trying to come into the half spaces, and you'll have Goodmanson and hopefully Bogle, if he's fit, in here able to do that job as well. So you do still have that rest defence of Leeds here, where they've got Rodon and Strauch in those areas to try to protect anything if it comes back at them. But you've still got that base to build off of Stack and Ampadu. Now, what can happen is if they do sit deep like this, you can actually allow Stack to help get involved in the attack a little bit, like he did against AC Milan, and you can bring Ampadu a little bit more central to try and mark the Everton striker, and you leave them in a little bit of a 3-on-1 situation here, and Stack can come forward to try and help out those balls into the final third. It's going to be important to try to overload them, even though they've got a big back line and they've got 5 players across there. Again, it's going to be about getting Goodmanson down the line, getting him into places where he can cross the ball into the box for Mecha, Peru, whoever it might be. It's about committing to those overloads, trying to create them. And when you do win the ball back in high areas, being effective with your passing and trying to catch them out early. Leeds may be able to hit them on the counter-attack. Yes, they'll have 3 at the back like we were showing earlier, and with Mykolenko up here, but that means that the wings still will be more exposed than they would have been if they were playing a back 4 who sits back as well. So In summary for this game, what you've got to look out for: Mykolenko creating overloads down the left-hand side for Everton, allowing Iliman and Dye to come in. How Leeds combat that will be dropping in an extra player into the defence to make a bit of a back five and pulling a winger back to double up on Mykolenko and Dye on that side as well. And then when Leeds are on the attack, Everton will at some points drop into a back five like this, and Leeds are going to have to try to break them down. So that's the tactical preview for the Everton game. Like I said, I will be live for the game, so make sure you come over and join me and our great community on the channel on Monday evening. Let me know what you think of this first tactical preview of the season. I think I'm going to do one for every team we play against. So it will be a way for you to kind of check in before the game, have a look at how the opposition might play tactically and what to look out for in the game for those of you who enjoy your tactical side of football. If you did enjoy it, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you become a subscriber of the channel as well. And yeah, all that's left to say is thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.